Hello, everyone. Um, I am Jennifer Bourgeot, and I am now putting on my Do Not Disturb. And these are our weekly water coolers that we have where Globe community members come and get together. And it's sort of like the idea of a water cooler is we present a topic for discussion, hopefully generating some collaboration or some new ideas. I think this particular topic is going to be a great one for us to start thinking about for sure. And so now I'm going to turn it over to Bri, who's going to share with us some super cool stuff. And so she should be able to share her screen. And I just want to thank everybody who brought this to us and to our attention, because this is definitely something that I am really appreciative of hearing more about. And so, and also remote sensing ecologist, super cool. I'm from the land cover team with remote sensing stuff. So I can't wait to hear more about this too.
Cool. Well, hold on a second. Okay. Can you guys hear me? You can hear me, right? Oh crap. Yeah. So once I do the screen share, I can't see anything from you guys. So you can hear me now, right? Okay, sweet. Thank you for that introduction. I am super stoked to be here today and meet you guys. This is the kind of stuff that I just love to talk about, and I can talk about all day long. It sounds like there's a pretty big spread of people in the audience. So, just if you have a question, just stop me and we can address it. But I'd also like this to be kind of interactive, and we can do a little demo or, see what you guys want to know more about. So yeah, my name's Bri, and today I'm going to talk about the AppEEARS application, which is something that we support at the NASA Land Processes Distributed Active Archive Center, where I work. And so basically, this is a tool for making data access easier for people. And I think I'd just like to start off with, before we dive into AppEEARS, I kind of just want to frame what we're talking about when we talk about remote sensing. So bear with me for a minute. This is a little bit of a thought experiment in a sense. So you guys know that the microscope was invented sometime in the 1400s or whatever, and it kind of opened up our ability to understand what we were looking at a microscopic scale. And so, oops, there we go. It gave us new insights, the ability to do new science, and to kind of make observations and think about things in a new way. And one of the ways I like to think about Earth observation and remote sensing is that we are basically pointing a microscope at Earth, but it's just called a satellite, and we're able to see and think and interpret all kinds of new things. And Earth remote sensing as a field is exceptionally new. And so it's just a really exciting time to be exploring these data and thinking about applying them to new questions that we have. Like the microscope's been around for probably more than 500 years, and the science that we've collectively done with that is basically incredible. And so in the 60 plus years or so that we've had remote sensing, we've made a lot of progress, but it's also still so new that getting different eyes on things and trying out new stuff is kind of where we need to be. And so, it's very similar. We're looking at, instead of looking at microbes and using a stain to see, pick out different types of information about proteins or cells, we're instead looking at Earth and using different wavelengths to observe different phenomena. And so I mean, you guys are pretty much well aware of this, but it's just about perspective and how we see things. So on the left, you can see like what a person would see looking at a particular plant. And on the right, you have what a honeybee sees. And so both humans and honeybees have three, oh gosh, well, they have three, main points of wavelengths that they're interpreting. But the honeybees is slightly different from ours, and it changes what they see dramatically. And it highlights, different components of the landscape for them. Okay, so basically with microscopes and satellites, the thing that we're trying to do is use the knowledge of systems that we have to explore those systems better. Like, what do we get from looking at something from a new perspective? Like maybe in your case, with all the globe data that's incredible and collected all across the world, we have a really good understanding of what's going on the ground. Like, how can we take that information and kind of expand on it by looking at it from a different perspective from space? And so a concept I just want to impress on you, which
sorry. Can you reshare your screen?
Yeah.
Sorry, it kicked you off.
Oh, I must have said something horrible. Let's see. Did it just kick me off?
Let's see. There you are.
Yeah. Okay, sweet. So a concept I wanted to impress on you guys is that remote sensing is a really cool tool that plays well with fieldwork and basically lets you ask new questions, expand your data, expand the spatial and temporal scale of inference you might be thinking about, and characterize different aspects of the environment you're in. And so, yeah, like I said, AppEEARS is a tool for retrieving remote sensing data. It lets you employ like point samples and spatial polygons and areas to extract data on all different types of variables. And so some of the data sets that we have go all the way back through the 1980s. And then obviously there are more current ongoing missions that we support. But I like this picture because it helps break down that it's not just about like the mission names or, like you can say the big names like MODIS and HLS and Landsat and all those kinds of things. But what it comes down to is that AppEEARS lets you access information about different processes that occur on Earth that kind of fall into these broad categories. And so, like I mentioned, this is a tool that lets you kind of specifically choose data based on an area you're interested, a time frame you're interested, and even some like bands that you're interested in the data set. And I'm going to walk you guys through like a demo of that and kind of interact with the application a little bit more just after this short presentation. We kind of went through that. There's all kinds of things that you can get from AppEEARS. This is what AppEEARS looks like when you want to do an area sample. It's pretty user-friendly application and fairly intuitive. And then one of the cool things that in the beginning I forgot to mention was that you can actually explore your requests, like your data requests, before you download them. So you can even get quite a bit of information about your study area and visualize some of that without ever bringing it into another system, which is really neat. And so some of the things that are complicated about different remote sensing data sets are pretty much obscured within this application. And you can focus on like the areas and timeframes that you need for what you're doing. And so, as many of you know, NASA has tons of data that's global. But the neat part about it is that it almost always has local relevance too. So it's just a matter of kind of finding what works for you and helps your science and what you're doing. So for a minute, I guess I'd just like to kind of open the floor for discussion and see if like how people feel about that or if they have any questions. And then we can go into like a more applied demo.
I'm curious if anybody has used this before. So Mike has. Anybody else?
Okay, cool. Okay, so if like you know what, as questions come up or you guys have thoughts, just let me know. And for now, I'll just carry on with kind of showing you the tool. So one thing, okay, yeah, let's start with what AppEEARS is. This is the website here, and I can, oh, am I still sharing? Whoopsie.
You're not still sharing.
Yeah, let me do that again. Sorry. Okay, and before I do that, I'll just paste the tool, the link, oops, the link in the chat here. Okay, here you go. That's AppEEARS. And so if you click that link, you'll get to a page that looks like this. If I'm almost permanently logged into my Earth Data login, but we can go here. I don't think I'm logged in on this one. Here you go. You'll see if you don't have a Earth Data login, like automatically, like those cookies saved, you'll see this little button here that says sign in. You do need an Earth Data login to actually use AppEEARS. And if you don't have, like, you can sign in here by clicking that button, or if you don't have an Earth Data login, you can register by clicking that button here. And this is just something that you basically need to do to access, well, to download and use any data that NASA provides. So feel free to do that. And let's see. In the meantime, I'll show you a couple of features that we have. One of the things that I like under this help button here is something called available products. So we can click on that and automatically learn kind of what's available in AppEEARS. We have this drop-down menu kind of organizing things by the different mission names. And you can kind of scroll through here and see what we have and see what you might be interested in. Landsat ARD is a collection we added pretty recently. That's for the continental United States. That's pretty cool. And so we have the bands associated with that. The different products. EcoStress is another one that's awesome. And that is actually, I have right here that I didn't get a chance to show you guys. EcoStress specifically, if you haven't heard of this guy, is a really cool product that is specifically made to map land surface temperature and evapotranspiration and understand water in the environment. And so a cool thing that's happened with EcoStress is that it's been used in an applied way to understand how temperatures in urban environments are very high, but also how applying different methods of urban pavements to something more reflective actually has an impact on those urban heat islands and has like a cooling effect. So this is a really kind of neat applied example, and I think sometimes with Globe there's situations where you would collect like land surface temperature or like the temperature on the ground, and this is a really neat product that basically specializes in that kind of thing. So we can go back to our available products. You can see all the kinds of different things, the land surface temperature that we have in EcoStress. There's a couple of different evapotranspiration products. If you don't know what this dyslexia product is, like you can click on it and it will take you to the product page, which is really nice. And that's where you can learn more about the data and get information on what layers it contains and a little bit on how to use it and its basic attributes. Another thing that's pretty cool is you can go directly to something called the collection page. So if you go to get started with data, you can do collection overview, and you can this is from the LP DAAC website. You can say, oh, I'd like to learn more about EcoStress. And then here you can get to the overview. You can go to the actual product website and see all the different products that EcoStress has to offer. Water use efficiency, all kind of land surface temperature, like I said, all kinds of stuff like that. So going back to AppEEARS, we know if we're not sure what we want, we can go to the available products tab and figure that out. You'll see here that AppEEARS also has an API, which is really handy, but that's more for programmatic access than like clicking through access. So let's say we want to do some point samples. This is what your page is going to look like when you start that process. You can either choose area or point, and then it takes you through the whole process. So you can start with something new, or if you've used AppEEARS in the past, you can kind of browse through and kind of copy a previous request. And you also have the opportunity to add your own data here that you might want to extract off of. So let me zoom out a little bit here. First thing you want to do is choose a name. We're going to do, gosh, you guys are all over the place, but I like New Hampshire, so I'm going to do New Hampshire Phenology. Or well, maybe we'll do New Hampshire Pheno and Temp. So we'll get the EcoStress too, hopefully. Yeah, and so we can add coordinates here that we already have, but you can also just use this map down here to navigate to New Hampshire and add a few points in places that you're interested in. So, and you can see as you add them, they come in here. For this ID, you can add a comma here if you wanted and say like blue, I mean, as a category ID, green, like, but in theory, it would be a real, a real category, not a silly one, but the options are there to do that. Okay, great. And so then you can go ahead and say, okay, I'd like information from what starting date. So I think I'm going to choose, let's see, 2017, January 1st to, how about today? And then if the, oops. So you should choose this first. Obviously, if your data is reoccurring and you want it on like a certain time frame basis, then you would choose this first and restrict the years in this way. Let's see, 2018 to, I mean, we could keep it really high, but we're not going to get data for after today. So October, whoops. Okay, great. And then this is where we get to adding the layers. Based on our investigation or kind of looking at what products were available, I think we would like something with temperature. And I think there should be an eco-stress product with temperature, which it looks like there is, which is really great. So then you can kind of select that and add that data into your selected layers section, and it will just, that will be part of your order. Oh, this is like the error around that. So let's take the emissivity, the land surface temperature, the error, and the QC. And then, so we're kind of done with that product. We can X out of that and say, maybe we also want something with phenology, or maybe something with NDVI. And we can kind of go through these examples and see the information. Like I see there's a 1,000-meter monthly NDVI product, but this is from Aquamodus. What if maybe you want a combined one? Then I think, where Modus and, well, we'll do land cover type. So you can kind of just, you don't need to know much to make some choices, but you have to have a little bit of an idea. We can go back to the NDVI and take the 500-meter guy. We'll take 2 types, and we can also take, I don't think there were that many fires in New Hampshire, but let's just check if we can see any thermal anomalies. And you can always, like, if you're not sure exactly about what type of data it is, it gives you a little bit more information with this guy right here. Okay, great. So we have our point sample named, we have coordinates, we have a date range, we have information on the map, and we chose a bunch of different products and put them in our request area. So now all you have to do is press submit, and this little green banner will come up, and simultaneously you'll also receive an email, which I just did, about how this request has been submitted. And so you can click that request, which was already open. Whoops. Hold on a second. Oopsie. There we go. When you go to the Explore tab, you can see that this request is on the queue, and get, if it's been a little bit of time, which it hasn't because we just did it, it tells you what products you took, and then it says that it's going to be starting soon. I think probably within the next 5 to 10 minutes, the request should be completed, and then we can kind of explore that more. But you can see here that like a lot of previous requests that I made are still retained in the system. So this I did like more than a year ago. But if I need to get the information and know exactly what I was doing with this request, I can. And then I can even resubmit the request to get that data again. So even though the data is not sitting here for you to download, you can see that this button is like grayed out. You can still choose to rerun a request, resubmit the request, and it will do that. So this is now queued. Hopefully this request isn't massive, but yeah. And then you can watch your progress. If you're really impatient, you can watch this progress bar move across the screen to see how quickly the request is completed. But in general, like with most requests, it's kind of enough time to get a cup of coffee and then come back and pull it up. So yeah, I'll stop here. We can check this in a little bit, but I'll stop here and take any questions or answer any comments you guys have. Tracy?
Oh, sorry. Could you go over again how you selected the products and the layers?
Sure. So the main thing is like you have to know at least a keyword or have a little bit of a concept of what you're looking for to do that selection. So let me pull it up. Oh, we're already 46% done. We can do an area sample this time. Okay, so this is where you would add products. Say you're looking for something that's temperature.
So when I click on that, it doesn't show this list of options.
I know. So I just talked to the developers about that. You cannot just click in it, nothing populates. Like you have to start typing anything. So right now, there's anything that has a T in it has showed up. Because I started, like it automatically updates, and then it keeps updating as you type. So then after you say, oh, I'm interested in a temperature variable, then you can see what options are there. You can also, so like, yeah, you're exactly right. If you type in nothing or you just click this box, nothing will happen. But if you say NDVI, or maybe you want a monthly data set, this gives you all of the data sets that are monthly that you could download here.
So when I was looking at snow cover, so I can choose snow cover, and then it says, do you want the 8-day or the maximum? And if I click the plus sign, it goes right into the layer.
You chose the 8-day.
No, I chose the maximum one down below.
Oh, this guy.
Yeah,
maximum.
and then it just automatically went over to the right, like yours did. Yeah.
Yeah. So this means that you have selected this layer as part of your request. So if you don't want it there, you can make it go back. Like this is the plus sign to like add it to your selected layers, and then you could do the minus sign to take it away.
Right. No, I got that.
Oh, sorry. What did you?
So I'm just trying to figure out how I select the data. You know, guys, I don't know all the different remote sensing satellites, what kind of data there are. So, like, I'm a teacher, and I'm going to go in, and I am clueless as to what to what to ask for. So how do I guide a teacher to navigate this?
Yes. That's a great question, and something that is personally very important to me. I have a lot of experience using this data, so it's easier for people with more experience. What I would say is to think about some keywords that you're interested in. Like you said, you were interested in snow, and these are the 4 snow cover products that we have. And so what you could do is say, this Aquamodus snow cover. You can kind of just go to the land processes DAAC. Aquamodus snow cover. Google's your friend in this situation, and you can kind of, well, this isn't really the top page I would choose, but you can get more information about the products by either just like Googling like the phrase, but actually this really unapproachable data set ID is the best way to match. Like this is to know what you're getting exactly, the MYD10A2. That does have meaning and is a useful way for the larger system to kind of characterize the data in a consistent way. And if you know that you want to explore that specific product, you can get to the product page for that by searching this product name, this short name here. In general, I am super interested in transferring like expert knowledge about how to interpret or how to apply different data sets to different questions that people have. But that is not something that this tool really helps with. If you have a question or you have a specific need for now, like let's just say you email me and we come up with a plan. And then in the meantime, I'm going to try to make a tool that addresses that specific problem. Because you're right, there's nearly 2,000 different data products that are Earth observing. And even for experts, it's very difficult to navigate all of them. But if you do know like a few attributes about what you're looking for, you can pop in here and see what we have. And another thing that kind of guides what you might want to use is what data you've already collected on the ground. So let's say you have information about green up and green down. And so there are some phenology products that we have that you can kind of pull up and go to the exact area where you guys were working or collecting data and kind of pair those up with the same time frame. Does that make sense?
So it would be pretty interesting to look at our globe protocols and match them with a specific product, where some of this has probably been done. For instance, urban heat islands Kevin could probably tell us what products are the best. Kevin Chakowski could probably tell us what, and the same thing with, you know, the cloud people could probably do a pretty good job matching what product. But there may be some other things like phenology where we need help identifying particular products that match those protocols. Because I could see that being extremely useful. I'm guessing. But Larissa has her hand up, and I do want to, Mike, you've used this before, so I would love to hear a little bit more from you too, because you've used it. So maybe if you've used it in any of your globe work. But Larissa has her hand up first.
No, I wanna Mike speak first because he is an experienced user. Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just going to say, Bri, thanks for everything you shared. Like I've dragged in the shape file that's basically the campus footprint where we collect data, and then go to the products that I've heard on a webinar or something like that. That's it. I know it doesn't answer, Tracy, necessarily your questions, but like if like a Modus is a great data set to use. I think it makes more sense if you have it bound by an area that you're really interested in. And Bri pointed out that you can have this set, so you can, that whole idea about change over time that we talked about a week or so ago, right? You can actually pull the data in and be able to show that change over time. It's really a very, very cool tool, but it's I fall back on the same screwdriver, right, over and over again. I mean, I know there are probably, as new products come out, like I'm really excited about SWOT when that data comes out. I think that'll be a really interesting thing for us at the edge of the Great Lakes to look at. But
Yeah, so just building a little bit on what you said, the closest big city to where I live is Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Big city. It's small. But you know, you could just make this area sample and say, I want to look at land cover and say over the past 20 years using this Modus product. And then you will have that information extracted through your request. So as long as you have a little bit of a hint, it is really hard to know where to start and to kind of keep up on things. And but really, you know, I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have, like ever, to give you like more specific information that you're looking for.
Excellent. Let me add my 2 cents, if I may. First, Bri, it's just really a cool product. It's just really a breathtaking, the ability through the depth of that, just access to all of this amazing amount of data. But this is me speaking as an engineer with 20 plus years of experience working in engineering research and development. So, and to me, to my ears and to my eyes, to my heart, this looks very engineering, user-friendly tool, which is absolutely fantastic. But if I'll take my engineering research and developer expert hat off my head, and if I put my really different hat on, and I really would like to follow what Tracy is still with us. I think she disconnected. But anyway,
I'm here.
Okay, just wanna really assess any tools that I'm currently working with from the perspective of my students, the teachers in the classroom, and also I also work in a field of policy. So how the policy experts would really would it be user friendly for policy folks? It's from one perspective, and from another, would it be user friendly for teachers and students? So I feel that it's time, and this is not only regarding this tool, but I feel that I'm sure somebody is working already on this, but in the we live in a time of large language models, and to build the AI application to build an application to really make it much more user-friendly, extracting the data for students and teachers, I think it's doable. I don't know if the developers specifically who are working on this software would be, if this is on the to-do list, so to speak. But I'm sure that somebody will get it done, because honestly, this is not only regarding to this amazing tool, but we need to make a next step to make it accessible and very user-friendly to students and to teachers. Thank you, Bri, and I'm putting my engineering hat back on and just really saying how in awe I'm of everything that you shared with us. Back to you. Thank you.
And can I just quickly ask you, when you say teachers and students, do you have a particular age range in mind, or just very broad?
No, I am working throughout the K through 12, but specifically I'm thinking about my students who are in 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade. So,
Okay.
so basically that's it. But again, I'm sure somebody somewhere in the US, hopefully working on this. But making those tools, amazing tools, readily available, in really the step that we've been waiting for a long time. But with the large language models, it's really should be a piece of cake, to be honest with you, because it simplifies the process of applying machine learning to end user applications. So it shouldn't be that difficult. It doesn't have to be coded from scratch. That's the point. Okay, sorry. We'll go back to you. And it looks like Mike has another question or information. Back to someone who will take the floor.
Bri, I was just trying to do a little thinking, right? So you basically could write the recipe for a set of layers and then share that out. Like I don't once I like in your work, right? Once you find a set of layers that you want to work with, you go back to, you don't have to find those again, right? That stored your search. So maybe there's a way. I've never tried to share that with somebody else, but that might be a way if we as a community, right, were to decide on layers that we thought would contribute to supporting protocols, we could pull those out, kind of to Jen's point, right? If we identified phonology layers, we could pull those out and then share that, and then somebody that wanted to could just drop it in, change the area that they're interested in, right, and do it that way. Even to Larissa's work around policy that's international, you could do the same there.
Absolutely. And if you wanted to get kind of fancy, for each point location of data that you have in your globe data assets, you can extract remote sensing data from different layers to add that information to the attributes for those locations. But what data sets would be appropriate for that are, that's probably up for discussion with the different types of protocols and things. But that could be also another cool activity, that if it was something of interest could be kind of automated and done programmatically through the API, which is like I'm blanking on it, but it's a application that kind of like pings the website and then gives you what you want secretly without you having to click through it. Once you know you want to do it like 100 or 1,000 times.
Okay, so we are at the top of the hour. That time like zoomed by. But it sounds like our work with Bri is just beginning.
Yeah. Please, like I wasn't totally sure about exactly who would be here and what you guys want. So if there's more, like, let me know how I can help and I'll do the best I can. Let's put it that way. So
Yeah.
please reach out, anyone / all of you, and we can figure it out.
I think that that is a great place to end. So I think what we'll do, and Bri, you're presenting again. Are you present? Is it you that's presenting again? Who's
Oh,
some
yeah, I think
presenting?
so. Like in November. I think it was a different audience, right? Or
Yes, it'll be an audience for educators.
so I should.
So we're the Globe partners, and then we help educators primarily. Except Lisa's here, so yay. But now she can give us some perspective maybe too. And so that's for educators, and it'll be really interesting to see. And so maybe before then, you and I can communicate about some of the protocols they're collecting right now, particularly maybe in support of our phenology campaign. And so maybe we can actually have some examples around that and the data they're collecting and the remote sensing products that align with Green Down, and maybe presenting some of that in particular, because you now have the data too for New Hampshire.
Yeah, and I'm so sorry. Like I think I got a little overzealous with the products I was adding to that sample request. So I think it was a bit larger than I thought it should be. So I didn't get to show you the end where you get to see all the cool data before you download it. But I'll make sure I make a smaller request next time.
Well, plus, I think it would be great to show us what you can do with the product, especially for that audience. So if we do part one is like really orienting all of us to what you can do. And then part two, and if we focus in on the educators and how they can use it in their classrooms, I think that would be great, right? Because then the Globe partners, we've seen this demo of how you get there. And then we can think about it as Globe partners and educators too. Can't forget Lisa. How we can take those products and maybe make them more usable for our groups. So, sorry, that was my dog leaving. I think that would be great though, for a part two. And really kind of thinking about it in that way. And so maybe we can definitely follow up, Bri, and then maybe we can, grab a couple other people who are really excited about this topic and go from there. If that's good with everyone, you can give me the thumbs up, because I think that would be a great segue to our next session. So there was one thumbs up. Come on, people, use your little thumbs up thing. And I just want to thank Bri and my colleague, Elizabeth. She also had a hand in making this connection. And I think these are great tools for us to expand what we're doing and make this a little bit broader than us. And so this is exciting to me. And I love the fact that we're getting back to remote sensing in so many ways. I think it's a really important piece.